Hi, everyone. Harry here to talk about a tumultuous, historic, and really alarming day that moves the country several giant steps toward authoritarian rule. The worst, by far, in my view, I'm showing my prosecutorial and DOJ colors, but is the wholesale pardons of the January 6th defendants, which I find beyond nauseating for all kinds of reasons, and essentially the most treacherous act by a president against the country in the history of the presidency. It's really an assault, unlike some of these other actions, on the democracy and all of us first and foremost. I have a whole separate Substack where I really elaborate on what is so historically obnoxious is too light a word, historically, offensive counter to everything the country stands for about the pardons, called A Day of Infamy. And let me leave those words there for now, because I just want to summarize. I felt really impelled to talk about that first and foremost, but he did many things that I at least want to just touch on in addition. So this crackdown on immigration, the all kinds of different orders, problematic in many ways, but the number one thing I've said often on my Substack, behind every Trump move is a lie. And the lie here is his declaring an emergency at the border when, in fact, crossings are at their lowest in 4 years. But this would enable him, if upheld, to harness different kinds of powers, including the National Guard from various states. And we have in our near future certain totally ugly crackdown operations. But the legal challenge here will be as to whether Trump can play Humpty Dumpty and just say there's an emergency, whether or not there is. Will the courts just say we have to defer to the president when he says, there's a hangnail, so that's an emergency on the body politic, or do they actually exercise some independent review because there ain't no emergency? That's going to be one of the big things. And just the other is the whole specter of roundups and nasty show of authority, including against people who, some probably not illegal, and others who have just been within communities for years. It's an outrage. The TikTok attempt is, I think, ham-handed, and I see it as not likely to work. But it's, again, the theme here is Trump's self-aggrandizement and trying to totally expand on the powers of the presidency. There's a case you're going to be hearing about a lot as that plays out in the courts, called Youngstown Tube, where President Truman tried to seize the steel industry during the Korean War, and the court struck it down, but also said where a president is issuing an executive order that goes against what Congress has said, then he or she is at the low ebb of power, as opposed to if Congress is silent or has actually endorsed it. And the TikTok ban, he's fancied himself as the historic deal maker who can make it all go away. God knows why he thinks he can make China sell, or because China controls ByteDance, sell TikTok. They say they won't. He may tell another lie to try to buy time under the statute, saying they're making real progress toward a purchase. That also would be a lie. So we have lies and executive orders in the face of congressional countermand. Really woeful and lawless, and the stuff of authoritarian governments. Federal hiring freeze, withdraw from a total assault on environmental policy. He withdraws from the Paris Climate Agreement. He withdraws from the World Health Organization. He is ready to impose tariffs of 25% on Canada and Mexico starting in a few weeks, and apparently 100% on Spain, sort of just because. which ought to be catastrophic. They're not the same completely unconstitutional maneuvers. They're just incredibly foolish ones, kind of on the category of bleach for COVID. And that's a general theme to remember. He's going to blunder and make people who voted for him say, what the hell is going on here? And he already is operating in a very thin, narrow margin in the Congress. Every member of Congress now is going to be forced to say, do you agree with the pardons of these violent offenders? Pam Bondi, the AG nominee, who said it was terrible. J.D. Vance, who said it was terrible. Anyway, he may well have been over-aggressive, but at the same time, the whole flurry of action is a sort of Trump signature of fomenting chaos and just bobbing and weaving and declaring victory no matter what. There's also the evisceration of all Biden executive orders. That's not, though it's being portrayed this way, that's not unusual. New presidents come in and do that all the time. A sort of anti-woke provision of saying, federal government shall not define male and female any way other than based on their assigned gender at birth. A flurry of those. But legally speaking, the big action is going to be for the FACA and DOJ, for immigration and the phony baloney assertion of an emergency, and for TikTok and the attempted effort to just stonewall a law that Congress has passed through the use of an executive order. Stay tuned for all of these as they happen. I'll be elaborating a fair bit more, but I just wanted to give you the overall ugly landscape, but then coming to the absolute strip mining Grand Canyon level gash that is the pardons. For that, please check out my Substack. Talk to you later. Thanks for tuning in. If you enjoyed this video and other Talking Feds content, please take a second to like and subscribe. Talk to you later.